There was a time in my life not too long ago when I was pre-diabetic, extremely unhealthy, and feeling low energy all the time. I have to say, it's much more exciting knowing how to use food to live vibrantly, happy, and healthy every day. My name is Adam Hart, and I want to welcome you to the power of food.
Awesome, welcome back, the Power of Food Cooking Show. Really excited to have you here again today. We are going to be doing one of my favorite recipes out of the Power of Food book. This is the Rise and Shine cereal. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, growing up, I used to eat a lot of Frosted Flakes. That was kind of my main choice. And it kind of led to me really having this relationship to food that didn't realize that, the idea of the mid-afternoon crashes, a lot of it has to do with how you start your day. And for me, having a lot of that, number one ingredient being a processed grain, mainly wheat dominant, was really just giving me this up and down, up and down, up and down every day, all day long. And, you get to that point where you want to live with a little more energy. You don't want to have those mid-afternoon crashes every day. And I don't know if that's something that you relate to, but it was something that I lived with for far too long. So this is one of those really great breakfast ideas that I came up with several years ago when I discovered some more of these beautiful plant-based foods that I talk about in the Power of Food book. And I want to introduce them to you today. We're going to start off with the base. Now, you could, if you want to, you could use any of your favorite cereal to add in here if you're transitioning off of that processed food diet. But I'm kind of off it already, so I'm going straight for the full deal on this guy. And so what I got in my hands, this is quinoa. Now, if you're familiar with quinoa, just a really great pseudo grain, so not really traditionally known as a grain as much as we know it is. It's a bit of a different variety. And it's gluten-free. So it's kind of a critical step for me is being as gluten-free as possible in my diet. I'm definitely less acidic, more vibrant, more energized, and that's what I'm looking for. So what I've done here for my breakfast cereal is I put in about a cup and a half, 2 cups. Now that's quite a bit. What I'm going to do is prepare, and what I do at home is I'll prepare a whole bunch of this and then feed it to the whole family. So with my kids and my wife, we'll kind of make one big bowl and then just share it all. But if you're going to do that, a cup of quinoa is actually a great amount of nutritional power. Also being a complete protein source, it's really a nice way to get the complete proteins we're looking for without having it always have to be from a meat-based source, which is also very acidic on the body. So that's a great way to start. You got your cup of quinoa. Now it's just a matter of, well, how can I flavor this in a way that's gonna be enjoyable? Because when you go from Frosted Flakes to a bowl of quinoa, there's a difference for your taste buds. So what I recommend is adding in a little bit of honey is always a nice touch. For the kids, it's great for them to be able to get that little bit of sweetness that we're looking for. So I'm just putting a little bit of honey in there. You can also think about what you can add into the water that you are preparing your quinoa in. So you can actually put in the water the honey itself. So when you put your quinoa in, it absorbs all the water. It's actually going to absorb the sweetness of the honey. Maybe you want maple syrup in there, something else in there. Sometimes I'll do that with coconut milk. Put that in and let the quinoa soak up the coconut milk. And it actually can start to create some really neat variations to the cereal. Think about rice pudding, but using quinoa instead. There's a recipe in there as well for that. Now we got some raisins. So I'm going to just throw some raisins right in there as well. These are organic raisins. Highly recommend if you're doing any dried fruit, you're doing it organic. That's mainly because of the sulfites. The preservative that is used on the dried fruit to keep it shelf stable for long term, it's actually quite detrimental to your health, the amount of sulfites that we consume. So I'm highly recommending go organic as much as you can. So now we've already got a beautiful start to our morning, but I am going to add on something that I think some of you know. If you know about the Power of Food and my work, you know what this is in here, but this is the number one nutritional food that I've been consuming for the past 10, 15 years, and the number one way that I stabilize my blood sugar. So if you don't know what it is, hemp seeds. So I'm throwing a real good amount. That's about a tablespoon worth. Again, I started off adding hemp seeds a tablespoon at a time to everything I was eating. Didn't change my diet, threw a tablespoon breakfast, lunch, dinner, every single day. And within about 4, 5, 6 days, it started to stabilize my blood sugar. Noted a heightened level of energy, and I just started going after more and more of that type of energy. And it kept leading me to eating more and more plants as opposed to the heavily processed foods that I grew up on. Now, I'm never the guy that's going to tell you to stop eating those, but as you add in these types of foods on a regular basis, it's going to start to wake up your body and your mind to another level of health and wellness. And if you want that, then you just keep following that. So we've got our quinoa, again, complete protein, hemp seeds, complete protein, a lot of essential fatty acids in there. Got some great unsulfited organic raisins. I'm gonna throw in some blueberries. And nothing wrong with having some real beautiful fresh berries, especially if it's in season, that's ideal. But with blueberries, we're getting a real powerful source of antioxidants. And that's just a great way to really help alleviate any of the stress that you might be going through on a day-to-day basis. You know, we work, a lot of us work very hard, long hours, and that has an impact on the body, nutritional stress, psychological stress, even physical stress if you're not able to be active at all. So that's going to help to counteract some of the impact on your cell structure, getting a good amount of blueberries in there. So we've really got just a gorgeous looking morning cereal right now. And I'm going to top it off with what I've got in my hand now. One of our episodes that we did was teaching how to make this, and this is the hemp milk. Essentially water, hemp seeds, turn on your blender, you're gonna have hemp milk. You could actually create a liter of hemp milk, about a jar that big. Costs you less than $1. It'll last 4 or 5 days in your fridge. That becomes the base for all of my cereal. Whenever I make any baked goods, I'll use it as the base. Becomes the base of a lot of my soups at home. And just a really phenomenal way to get all the nutrients, the protein, getting iron, good essential fatty acids, and just too easy. So there you go. There's the bowl. Maybe I got a little bit too much milk in there, but you can see how beautiful that looks. We got a huge amount of quinoa in there. Such a phenomenal nutritional powerhouse. Lots of iron in quinoa as well. We got our blueberries. We got our raisins. We got our hemp seeds. And then you start thinking, well, what else could I add in there? Or how can I mix this up to create something different? But the truth is, when you start feeding yourself these types of nutrients, you're not going to eat a whole lot. When growing up, and even up to just a few years ago, I would still eat way too much cereal or eat way too much, whatever it was, bread or anything. And it's just filling myself up with a lot of empty calories. As you start to add in more of these beautiful living calories, you really don't need to eat a whole lot more than a small little bowl or a small little plate, as long as it's got the right nutrients on there. And that's what this is here. Now that's quite a bit. So again, I'm going to share that with my family, but it's going to give you that real sustained energy that you're looking for. And it's going to get you to that lunch point. It's going to get you the snacking points throughout your day where you're going to realize, hey, I don't actually need to snack as much as I used to, or whatever that might look like for you personally. So give this a try. It's the Rise and Shine cereal out of the Power Food book. Lots of amazing ingredients in there, and it's going to help fuel you throughout your entire day and get you feeling fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed that episode, and we'll see you again really soon.